Alright, this video is going to be about turning my Pi 5 into a server slash Pi-hole DNS filtering. See, I've already got it set up. It's just got a 4 GB SD card in there, Pi OS Lite. It's only doing Pi-hole right now, but I've got this 128 GB SD card that I'm going to put in there. And I'm going to turn it into a bit of a server just for storage. And also, it's going to run Pi-hole. Maybe also a little Minecraft server. So we'll see. Alright. Obviously, the first step to this is just going to be getting an operating system going on the Pi. I'm just going to use Pi Lite OS. Just all I really need. And then I'm going to use Samba for the file sharing storage. Pi-hole is super small. I think it only needs like half a gig of RAM, a couple gigabytes of storage maybe. So should be fine to use Pi OS Lite. And the install for that's super easy. Literally just go to raspberrypi.com and Raspberry Pi OS Lite, download that. I already have one on my computer, so I'm not going to download this here. And then I actually have a pretty useful USB tool here. So I can plug the SD card in here. And then on this end is a USB dongle. So I'm going to plug this into my computer. And then I'm going to use Rufus to flash this, and you just want to select your Raspberry Pi OS image. So I've flashed the operating system to the SD card. You can see here, looks like the camera's not going to focus, but you can see the flat stat light is flickering, which means there's boot activity. So I bet if I switch my monitor input, because I've got a mini HDMI, or sorry, micro HDMI to HDMI. If I switch this input to HDMI 1, we're booting up. So I'm gonna have to make sure this can see. Alright, I set up the file sharing. Let's use Samba. I didn't really fully go over it, but here it is. Bang. So this little guy here is connected to Ethernet to my access point, plugged in the keyboard. It's got micro HDMI to my monitor, and then it's just plugged in with a little USB-C. And so it's doing Pi-hole DNS filtering for my whole network, and then also just gives me 100 gigabytes of free storage, just because the SD card has extra space in it, so I thought I might as well. Computer. There we are. Alright, so once you set it up, you actually need your devices to use it properly. And depending on what router or ISP you have, it's going to be different. Certain routers, for me, I use Rogers. Maybe bad ops to leak that. But they actually don't allow you to change your DNS or DHCP settings. So I have to manually go in on each device and change the DNS server to the Pi-hole's IP, which isn't a super big deal, but it's just annoying. So depending on what your ISP is, you're gonna have to figure out how to make sure your devices actually utilize the Pi-hole. I'll put up a link to the actual documentation of post install,